and now you're judging them each and every play that they make.
Yes, I am.
And this is their moment to shine, right? The draft. And, well, immediately, look at this. 3 target bans. Usually it's WE that are being targeted. This time, they're turning it around.
So we do see Kassadin now taken away from Angel. Oh my god, we just...
Let's go,
We just see a lot. I guess the Aphelios is gone this time around, so just going straight for that Renekton.
Think about the bans, though, from Suning. Banning 3 AD carries out means that... And 1 Ezreal from WE as well. Pantheon's available, Galio's available,
The big one
beishang
to
could
me
go
is
for the Ekko.
Graves is available, right?
True.
We see, heck, they banned Graves every game against EDG. So does SofM want to go for the Graves? And we also still have Thresh as well. Thresh has been 100% pick or ban in the LPL so far.
And SwordArt certainly no slouch when it comes to the Thresh. It's been picked both games in the series so far.
You could also take something like the Misfortune here if you want, or if you do play the Senna, that's the other high priority AD carry left open. So it really depends on preference if you value one of these ADs.
Mid laner could be an option as well. I'm kind of surprised to see them just going for a blind mid here, but obviously wanting to hold their cards close to their chest and see more of what WE wants to do.
Makes me wonder if Teacherma will go for the Syndra matchup, which I would say it's a skill matchup, but it's a pretty straightforward matchup on both sides. As Syndra, you just don't have to get hit by Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and for Zoe, right, just about dodging the Scatter of the Weak. If those two things shouldn't happen, it just becomes clearing waves. But if he doesn't opt into that, I don't think anything in Teacherma's champion pool is actually that threatening to a Zoe.
No, but I can understand just going for the Galio, honestly. It has been the most successful pick. I think it's even more successful than the Pantheon for WE. So they've got Morgan's Renekton, they've got Teacherma's Galio. They're just going for their stock standard right now.
Yeah, and I want to see them pair it with some real hard engage. So if we do get something like a Jarvan, that's what I'd want to see, because Suni can already set up for a comp that can just play from a range and try to kite out this Galio.
Ooh, prioritizing the AD carry, though. And with as many AD carry bans as there are, that could be a huge advantage, but we're actually going to see potentially another Ashe. We saw an Ashe the day before yesterday.
Yep. We actually saw it from Jiumeng, which from Jiumeng, it's actually not too surprising. He even played Ashe in spring. It kind of turned out to be maybe his pocket pick, but Angel going for it, I would say, is pretty surprising.
Sneaking into the meta. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. But
the thing I like about it is you've already set up that you could potentially build a comp that doesn't have a lot of engage since you're going with Graves in your jungle. So just having that Enchanted Crystal arrow from huanfeng will be very clutch. Can also shut down the Misfortune.
It really can. Just deny the ultimate halfway through the fight. I remember there was a meta, I don't know at what point this time, but it was Jhin versus Ashe almost every single game, and that Ashe ultimate used to deny the curtain call every single time.
I remember it was Season 7 Spring. It was Jhin, Ashe, and Varus, Zyra, Malzahar, Karma, Lulu supports. Good times.
Yeah, I could remember it almost exactly the same. I could have listed those champions just as easily, I promise. Karma and Thresh going to be banned away here. So, with your encyclopedic brain lyric, can you tell me what the other 2 bans are going to be?
No, I cannot, but I could tell you that both of these AD carries, again, both immobile, they both want something around them that can give them safety. With Thresh off the table, I would expect us to see a rise in the priority of something like a Braum. Neither of these supports, actually SwordArt is a bit of a Tahm Kench player as well, but that's not something really in Missing's wheelhouse.
Mordekaiser actually banned away here from Bin. The Wukong as well taken off of the table, so trying to maybe force him onto the Aatrox this time around and reverse the roles a little bit in that top lane.
You see why I didn't tell you the bans? Because teams in LPL, well, when you see something like a Thresh, you're like, oh, they're gonna double ban support, they're gonna hard focus on role. Players here just ban out things they don't want to play against. But again, the question now goes to the eyes of support. But hey, I guess he did just show he's willing to blind pick the Bard, so why not just go back to it?
Also, you can follow it with the Tempered Fate on the Crystal Arrow or vice versa to set up a really, really long-range engage. So it's a nice little duo in the bottom side. And we'll see where WE want to go to finish out this composition. They've still got to go for a jungle and a support.
Yeah, and beishang not having many hard engage options left open. I guess you could go for something, okay, well, I was going to say could go for something like a Gragas, but you'll have double AP mid, but actually doesn't care about having double AP mid, just instead wants a champion he's comfortable on and he can carry on himself.
He's quite happy to go for that Ekko. We've seen that before. This is very much like, I mean, honestly, looking at this composition from WE,
ooh.
What?
We could have Galio, or I guess even Pantheon support if they do lock that in. Which actually I would.
We got baited. We got baited.
Honestly, I would have loved that.
Missing Sett is incredible.
Yes.
Missing has been playing so well on this set. Really, really good for setting up Misfortune as well. She has the front-loaded damage to follow up on his engage.
So they have set themselves up for a really good 5v5 teamfight comp. I'm going to point out why I don't like it like I did in Spring a lot, but it's still one, is you don't really have reliable engage. Even if Teacherma opts to going with the Predator Galio, I don't feel like it's good enough as compared to having something like a Jarvan or something that jumps in where Galio could just follow. Sure, Sett does have a lot of MS buffs with especially the rune choices you go, but it still doesn't feel reliable enough to just run straight at the enemy team. At least you shouldn't be able to find that engage, but we've seen WWE do it time and time again. And
especially Missing on this set, you can really sprint at people, especially if you go for the Hex Flash and the Phase Rush. You can Hex Flash out of a bush, go for the Knuckle Down. You're sprinting at the speed of light.
Yes, you are. And
the last second swap. Teacherma's going mid with Sett.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh,
wait,
changing things
up.
No,
yeah, they kept it. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out when we get on into the game. I'm really curious. Could be Galio's support in that bottom lane. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on this one. Changing things up. I like this from WE. Keeping everything up in the air.
See, I should prefer the opposite with WE. When it comes to WE, I like when they keep it stock and standard and just play the same old WE way. And again, as of right now, doesn't look like that can win in LPL, but let's start with getting further in the season with some wins, securing a playoff spot, and then trying to branch out.
Fair enough. Well, maybe they've been branching out a little bit during the off-season. Maybe they've got some practiced, pre-prepared strategies. That's what this feels like to me, that they've changed things up here. They have a real tanky team. Look at that.
So they're committing to it.
Teacherma in the mid lane with Sett up against Zoe.
The thing I like about this is, once again, you have AP with 80 jungler, so you have mixed damage, so Angel gonna feel some threat there. And you do have lockdown in the bot lane on the Bard. If, you can find a good EW combo with the Galio, lock him down, and you just have so much burst. Bard is such a squishy champion.
I mean, bullet time on top of that combo, someone is dead. You don't ever get out of that CC chain before you're already gone. So we'll see if Missing can set it up. But Galio's support can struggle a little bit during the laning phase. You can get really bullied out.
Yes, you can. But at the same time, Bard not typically the champion I would think can do it. You do have some trading power there with your Winds of War as well. The thing I'm excited and expect to see is the Teacherma beishang combo, because I expect Teacherma just to flash early, look for an E onto Angel, and try to set up that gank for beishang.
I'm excited to see it, and I'm expecting the exact same thing here. SofM, I feel like, has a lot of work cut out for him on this Graves, because Graves, an incredibly high priority pick right now. Super strong jungler. How is that going to match up against this Ekko?
Graves will definitely win out in these early duels, right? If he has priority in his lanes, which you would expect in mid he should, as well as bot lane, probably will get some priority once you hit that level 3 and level 4 mark. He can just look to invade this Ekko, look for these duels around Scuttlecrab, because Ekko won't be able to start contesting until he does hit that level 6 mark, right? Finishes that jungle item, and then you can try and get on top of the Graves, but he's going to be able to cut you out that phase rush as well. So I'd probably say you're not expecting a lot of interaction in the straight-up 1v1 from beishang. Not
just yet, at least. And, well, I mean, that's what we said during game number 1. beishang didn't really have much of a choice when it came down to it. SofM made that issue his own issue and really charged forward to put his foot down. We'll see if that's going to be the same story here. Obviously, Graves, though, less slippery than the Jarvan that we saw that happening on. So if he does go too aggressive, he can be caught out.
Also interesting that Teacherma secondaried into the Resolve tree, so not going for the Hextech Flash, instead probably needing some safety.
Already aggression in the bottom lane, and this is the damage I was talking about. Jiumeng just chunking huanfeng out in this trade. Missing does take a good amount of damage back for it, though.
Still, you'd feel good if the enemy AD carry is the one who did take all that damage. And at the same time, we just saw how that trade works at level 2. Can you imagine how it works once we hit like level 6 and that combo just equals a kill?
Yeah, I guess real scary on the side of huanfeng and SwordArt. And this is one of the big problems that you have when you're running Ashe, right? The reason that you're picking Ashe is her ultimate. The first 5 levels, you're not going to have that available to you. Volley is basically the only thing in her kit.
Her laning phase actually isn't too bad with the harass coming from Volley, but again, when you see you're paired up with a Bard, you just really don't have any options against a Misfortune and a Galio. They outrange you. They win in the all-in. They have more CC, more reliable CC.
Yeah. But also just more straight-up burst damage in those kind of 2v2s coming out from the Misfortune. It's one of the reasons Misfortune is so popular. It's just the love tap alone offers so much to a fight.
And going to use that priority from bot, and even having priority mid. We haven't seen Sett mid here in a long time, but let's remember it was picked a lot. I like the emote coming out from SofM, but it was picked a lot in spring into all of these mage mid laners because guess what? You can have a non-interactive laning phase, the healing from your passive, even if they trade on you, doesn't matter. You throw a haymaker at the wave and you can either push or neutralize.
Yeah. Sett is an incredibly strong champion and one of the things that has made him so strong, and the reason he's been so consistently in the meta, is the fact that he is flexible. He's been in the support, he's been top, he's been mid. He's even been jungle as well. You can pretty much put him anywhere except AD carry, but do you know what? Alongside a center, you could even put him AD carry.
Yes, you can, and both junglers moving over.
He's
just
the perfect champion.
I don't know about that one.
He's viable in every role. What are the qualifications do you need?
Who would be my perfect champion?
Probably Thresh.
Thresh, I think Thresh is up in that argument, right? He's stood the test of time, pretty much offers everything in his kit.
Yeah. Kind of just pickable in the vast majority of scenarios.
Like, I said my perfect champion. The perfect champion probably Thresh, but mine would probably be Draven, just for the fact of, like, the ego and confidence you need to pick it, which is why I'm still sad the only day huanfeng has played that champion is on a non-English day. For anyone who doesn't know, huanfeng does main, not necessarily main, but it's his pocket pick.
Yeah.
Pocket pick Draven.
I think he used to main.
Yeah, used to main. Did play it once in LPL last split. Was on a non-English day, though. Yeah. Also played Jhin.
Yeah, he did play a game with Jhin. I think they won that game as well. Did they?
I can't remember if they won, but I remember he was popping off.
I remember it looked great.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
There were highlights, but
yeah.
I can't remember if they actually won. I actually think they didn't win. I just remember him popping off.
I feel like there was a lot of times that they didn't win. So that seems very possible. Missing taking a few hits here from huanfeng, and actually they're turning onto Jiumeng as well. One thing Ashe really does offer when you've got that approach velocity in your kit, as soon as you've taken one arrow, she will never let you escape. If she wants to keep extending the trade, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but still, WE's bot lane going to have the pressure, going to be able to push out and get a base. Another interesting thing to me is the fact that we're seeing Teacherma go for the Bomby Cinder, so making his way towards the Sunfire Cape.
Yep, full tank Sett in this mid lane. But also just not really respecting the damage that Angel can offer in the mid lane. Basically saying, look, I'm not building for the lane here. I'm building for later on in the game.
And we look at how scaling goes. This goes back to one of these games where I don't feel like it's necessarily about the scaling of the champion kits themselves.
That was unfortunate.
It was unfortunate, but... Ooh.
Hang on, we could have a bit of a play here.
Yeah, Missing's here.
Missing's here, but he's spotted as well. Control ward on both sides of the mid lane here. And it's just going to be Teacherma clearing things out in the end.
But
and that's the haymaker you were talking about, just clearing the wave so efficient.
Going back to my point, I don't feel like this game's about necessarily the scaling of individual champions. It comes down to the formations in the later stages of the game, and it's pretty easy to look at. If WE can get on top of Suning, they're going to win. It's that simple. If their champions get on top of Suning's champions, WE will win these fights. If Suning can keep them at a range, we can see good Tempered Fates, good Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, as well as Enchanted Crystal Arrows. Suning really need to abuse that fact that they have an 80 carry in the jungle, as well as all this poke.
Yeah. Honestly, when you look at the composition from WE, it feels almost JDG-esque in some way, in that a lot of the weight is on beishang's shoulder to be a carry in the later stages of the game, which is what we often see from Kanavi, whereas Teacherma stepping very much into an auxiliary role where he's just setting everyone up for the fight.
We did say that we love when Teacherma's on these champions that have the onus to engage themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he definitely can engage. That's one thing you can say about Sett. He knows how to start a fight. WE kick this dragon off. It's going to be an Infernal to start. So for the first time this series, it won't be a Soul. The Smite should be able to come through from beishang. Fight, though, coming through from Suning. SwordArt pulled in. Bin is teleported down on the Aatrox. He's onto Jiumeng. Forces the flash over the wall. Everybody gets away with their lives, and it's a Drake for WE.
overall, it's a big win for WE in the fact that, one, it's not only a Drake, but Morgan didn't have to burn TP. He was already headed down there. Bin did burn TP, obviously, and the wave.
They're in trouble here. Nice block out of Missing, but it's not enough. Jiumeng's still going to go down. Kill for huanfeng. And Missing is alone. Angel's not going to let him get away from this one. Poking damage down under the tower.
He's dead. He's dead, Munch. He's dead.
Oh, Missing, you poor soul. Angel wanted to solo kill that, but SofM sneaks it away with the collateral damage.
I was hoping it'd be kind of like some scumbag camaraderie banter, but you look at SofM's player cam, and they're still just they were still so stone-faced and serious.
It's like, this is my kill. There is no banter about this.
But the wave, going back top lane, sorry, I love waves.
Go on.
Going back to
tell me about the waves. Tell me about.
Lane.
I'm dying to know. Tell me about the top wave.
Left in a great position where it should now be pushing back towards Morgan because of how the position it was left in topside. So small win for Morgan there. But actually big win because again he still has his TP as well.
Look, honestly, if I'm Morgan this game with how it went last time, anything is a big win for me at this point. The fact that we're even is a big win.
Actually, he just went top and just cleared the wave and then walked away, so it didn't matter that it was pushing towards him.
Nice. Well. Last time around, Morgan was on the Aatrox and Bin was on the Renekton. Morgan got thoroughly bodied in the top lane. This time around, it's Morgan on this Renekton, and it's not going the same way.
And we need to remember, jungle matchup is obviously different, but at the same time, Aatrox was the one with the Jarvan last time around to where the Renekton had the Trundle, so you would think Morgan should still be able to have that same level of dominance. I also am pretty sure Bin went press the attack to where Morgan went Conquer. So a bit different.
Yeah, so some slightly different stylistic choices when it comes to the play in the top lane. But
and
ultimately...
We do know Morgan's probably going to go towards the Black Cleaver as compared to Bin, who's, I'm going to play the Rune King, I'm going to abuse you.
Well, quite often on the Renekton, Morgan likes to go for the Teacherma first, then goes into the Black Cleaver.
Makes sense, because he just loves to push and move.
So beishang in the meantime, going to grab himself a Rift Herald here. And we'll see where he's going to try and funnel that gold. Looks like it is going to be going the way of Morgan. They want some revenge onto Bin for game number 1. Morgan going real aggressive here. Holding on to that Ruthless Predator. Trying to make sure that he's got the stun available to set up beishang. It's not going to happen. beishang just goes in on his own here. Still does massive damage.
And that was so close. Had he hit that W, Bin would have been dead for sure.
Bin would have been dead. That is for sure. You're absolutely right. But deciding not to go for the Herald. Deciding to back away from this one in the end.
I actually think it's fine. They don't have eyes on SofM or SwordArt, so not wanting to just put that down and, you know, all of suiting match and then take down the Herald. The thing that's actually nice about the past few minutes is WE got the Herald but didn't lose out anywhere on the map because WE's bot lane's still able to just shove out the wave whenever they want. So they shoved up, hovered towards mid. We already know Teacherma just has the Haymaker and the wave is pretty much gone.
Yeah, I mean this.
Yeah, we're going to see it. EW, wave is gone. So everyone just able to pretty much burst the wave immediately, hover topside, beishang, pick up Herald for free.
I feel like as Angel, this lane just sucks. Well, I mean, it doesn't suck. You just get to clear the wave and walk away, but ultimately, you'd love to have a bit of kill pressure. You'd love to be able to harass, but there's just nothing you can do. Teacherma is practically invincible on this set. He's got the health regen available to him. Look, the trade will come through here. Trouble Bubble even lands. Angel gets a Paddle Star. Still half HP remaining, and now Sett's passive.
I was going to say, now time for the passes.
So basically, all of that mana used from Angel, but nothing happens.
And because Missing was hovering mid is allowing SwordArt to zone off their bot lane, and SofM is around, and Dragon's coming up in 40 seconds, so all eyes are going to be here. One thing to keep track of is that Morgan does have TP, Bin doesn't, so if Suning does want to fight for this, Bin just needs to start heading down in the next 20 seconds.
beishang's moving up towards the top side, though. They're going to try and punish Bin before he can rotate, before he can move around the map here.
They might even just give up Dragon and say, hey, we already have one. We're not worried about you getting soul.
No stun once again, but this is surely going to be the tower going down. Herald will drop. No CC available to deny it, and now damage onto Bin. I don't know why you contested that one. Chrono break from beishang. Now just a couple of hits, and this will go down. Dragon only spawning in 10 seconds. Morgan could TP. I don't know. beishang can't get there.
They could, but still, you could just posture 4v4 and hold it and give beishang time to roam down.
What? Do you know what?
Well, I was going to say,
sod the Dragon. Just get a tower.
Why would you? Because we talked a lot last split about how the solo dragons don't mean that much, right? Whether you know, however much % damage or movement speed or XYZ, XYZ. It doesn't matter when you can just stack up 4 of 1, become really dominant in one area, and, you know, win out in the long run.
And if you want to stack up a dragon, Ocean's not a bad one to go for. That's going to be the soul this game. And now Morgan has already got so much gold behind him. There's the Tiamat that we talked about coming on through, as well as a Phage. Now he can go wherever he wants on the map and start to impact things.
Game's still pretty close, but the thing I like about WE's composition is, again, with these compositions that just go in, it's just so simple to understand. Yeah. It's really hard to mess up to where Suning have to be the ones creating space and playing around these key cooldowns.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the WE composition, SwordArt gets away, classic Bard. When you look at WE's composition, it just makes sense, right? Everybody wants to group up, smash people, set up for the bullet time. When you look at Suning's composition, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, again, you're relying on Enchanted Crystal Arrow, on Tempered Fate, on the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, a lot of things. But for WE, they do need flashes since they don't have any set. I was going to say set engage, but they do actually have set engage, but they don't have any reliable
They have literally set engage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are right. They don't have a standard way of getting in unless they can find some kind of flank. But, well, relatively one-sided when it comes to the turret plates. Huge amount of gold being given over to Morgan and to beishang. Obviously, we saw the Herald play on the top side. But it's been a slow, quiet early game, and that is exactly what Suning wants, right? That is exactly Suning's comfort zone so far in this series.
That is what it is, and actually, going back to a previous point, you talked about beishang having to play a very Kanavi-esque role and being a carry in this game. SofM does as well, right? He's a Graves in a composition, which, sure, yeah. Ashe does do a lot of damage in the late game, so does Zoe as well, but when you're picking something like this Graves, you are one of the centers of the composition.
Oh, Teacherma wants to make a fight happen here, but SofM is around. Haymaker denies all of the damage out from Angel. With beishang here, I think Suning decided this is not worth it anymore. Dragon not up for another 3 minutes. I'm not 100% sure what this is all about. They get the catch, though. Really nice stun from SwordArt. And he actually got caught by the Trouble Bubble as well. Keeps him alive. Crystal Arrow only hits onto missing. They just don't seem to be able to finish the target off. There comes a stopwatch. They're finally going to get a kill from themselves after all of this. Missing nearly gets out with his ult.
That was actually beautiful and showed how reliant Suning are on these abilities, right? SwordArt hitting a very amazing Cosmic Binding, which I don't think anyone expected, but then chaining that into an arrow into a bubble is how they're going to find these kills.
And you saw beishang getting caught out. Tries to get away. There's a bubble already there. There's no way you can go. The CC chain is actually really terrifying if it's executed correctly.
At the same time, WE once again have a very tanky composition like previous games where Ekko going to be hard to kill. You have a Galio in the bot lane, you have a full tank Sett in the mid lane. Even if you do hit all those layers of CC, you're going to give a lot of time to the members of WE to deal damage back in a full 5v5 team fight.
Yeah, I mean, even the Renekton, right? We saw it last game. Been in that team fight around the back of Baron. Just wouldn't die. He was the guy that they tried to focus down. And honestly, that fight, one of the big reasons that WE ended up losing game 2.
And we've just seen more, I was going to say Morgan, but Renekton be such a dominant champion in this series. And in the LPL overall, it's another champion, had an 89% presence rate in LPL coming into this, which again has only been 2 days of games, but still, it's a champion we love here, and you're seeing in this series why it does so well in the LPL.
Such a dominant pick, and such a dominant force here, but only a 400 gold difference right now as we head towards the 20-minute mark. This is the closest this series has been yet. And when we look towards the later stages of the game, I would say scaling probably slightly in favor of Suning.
I'd agree. Again, when it comes down to just champions in isolation, Suning's is where I go. And even if executed correctly, I think Suning should come out on top. But it just feels like that might be a bit of too high of a bar for, you know, a mid-tier team in the LPL as compared to what WE have, which even with a bit of a change with Teacherma on Sett, the comp style is still very much comfort.
Yeah, it's about, you know, Teacherma goes in, starts a brawl, everyone else follows up on it. And ultimately, when you consider how Suning have to start a fight, it's like the Tempered Fate, the Crystal Arrow. Realistically, they want to be on beishang or on Jiumeng, right?
Yes.
Everyone else is going to be invincible. It's going to be really hard to land a Crystal Arrow onto either of those targets.
Or it's going to need to be a pick like before, but we see Morgan posturing for a TP.
He wants to try and make his way in. I was talking about it's hard to pick. They do get a Trouble Bubble onto Jiumeng, but the Ocean Drake has been started off there. beishang wants to find his way in. He's looking. Oh, that was questionable to say the least. Goes in way too early on that one, but now the fight, they're going for it anyway. They don't care. huanfeng flash out, but here comes beishang. He's back into the action, and he's looking for a double kill. There's one for Morgan. It's a dragon for a double.
It looks so good at first for the side of Suning. beishang just jumping in too early. Should have realized the dragon wasn't theirs. But Teacherma finding a beautiful engage. Keep giving him these engaged champions. They get 2 kills. They get a turret. They might even get a second.
Once again, this would be 2 heralds and 2 turrets out of each of them for WE. Some of the most efficient herald play we've seen in the LPL this year, honestly. They don't quite get the second tower, but valiant effort there. 3-3 on the scoreboard. WE starting to eke out a gold lead, though.
True, and it just slight. This game ultimately still going to come down to these big team fight moments, and here we see beishang jump in. This is what we talked about with how much survivability WE's comp has, though. Even if you get the perfect CC chain, you just get out scot-free. We see a decent Tempered Fate coming out from SwordArt, but it doesn't matter. Once WE's on top of you, Suning's composition is just too squishy.
And that showstopper coming out from Teacherma was magnificent. It was a game over millimeters. You could see that he flashes just beyond huanfeng to pull him back into the team.
I love it. I love seeing Teacherma on these style of champions. He does so well. Last split was only his first split, and he has his own unique flavor. And again, he might not stand up in lane to some of these guys, but it's still just beautiful to watch.
Doesn't that just say a lot, though? That this is Teacherma's second split in the LPL, and he already has such a name for himself. He already has such a reputation in the LPL. It takes a certain type of player to make that much of an impact in your first split.
The thing I love about it, too, is the team and player have such self-awareness to know, hey, maybe I can't work on the Zoes, on the Syndras, on these types of champions, but I can play my style and we can find a way to make it work. Because a lot of teams don't do that, right? They try to force their players into a certain mold, and then their teams suffer for it.
I've seen that many, many times over the years, not just in the LPL either. Not WE, though. And apparently not Suning either, because this composition is far from the standard composition that you'd expect to be seeing. And they're making it work for themselves. Certainly not out of the game just yet.
It's actually funny because this Suning comp reminds me a lot of a Flash Wolves comp. And they do have, of course, SwordArt and the Flash Wolves coaching staff. So Flash Wolves would always pick these types of carry junglers for Karsa, put them with very limited CC and frontline options, and just try to hard out skill you. Which, of course, back then in the LMS would work. But here in the LPL, not going to have the same time.
Yeah, I mean, me and Dagda were talking about this the other day when we were talking about Maple in the mid lane. It felt like, you know, in the LMS, he was a dominant force. He was winning trophy after trophy after trophy. Here in the LPL, big fish in a small pond back there. Now he's in the ocean. It feels kind of similar for SwordArt.
So SwordArt is a 6-time LMS champion, has been to Worlds 5 times, has been top 3 at MSI, no, top 4 at MSI 3 times, and is an IEM champion where they had to beat G2 in the final, the Sven and Mythy G2, so still a good one. So this guy has the accolades.
Yeah, relatively impressive scoreline there. That's like borderline T1 levels of trophy case, just from a slightly less dominant region. Slightly less.
Yeah, it is. They actually just lost the first year both LMS trophies, but
hang on, Teacherma's caught out right. Oh, that's not Teacherma, it's just a Galio. It's missing that was caught out. beishang trying to get out with his own life. Chrono Break is going to pull him back into the fight. Oh, what a trouble bubble! Jiumeng has his cleanse, but that was a valiant effort from Angel.
Let's remember that Suning might have picked a comp that relies on a lot of individual skill, but this team has a ton of individual skill. Great pick on missing. Like you said, that Sleepy Trouble bubble was just beautiful.
Now on towards the tower. Flash comes through from Angel, but can't quite connect the Paddle Star. They don't have minions, but they've got an Ashe. And once that lethal tempo's going, you just throw those arrows.
And Dragon's going to be up in 30 seconds, so Suning going to be able to put down some vision control in time.
And let's bear in mind, it was missing that got caught, so even if it was a little bit later than it was, he's always going to be able to ult back into the fight.
Yep.
The Galio is always going to be able to make his way across the map. 20 seconds until this Ocean Drake. WE would really like to get this one, because Suning, if they can find another Drake here, they're on soul point for an Ocean Soul. That's the kind of advantage that can really secure a game.
I kind of want to see Suning buy a bit of time, let the Enchanted Crystal Arrow come back, because you need that full CC chain. You need to pick someone off to win this fight.
They might be disagreeing with you here, because they're posturing like they're quite happy to go toe-to-toe.
Almost up, Munchables.
It's not that long of a cooldown. It's a surprisingly short cooldown for how effective it is. Angel's just trying to buy time because they're already into the Dragon Pit. Dragon down to half HP. But we're committing onto Angel here. WE started. Wait, what? He got the Dragon beishang, you hero! Now taunt onto SofM in the backline as well. They're trading blow for blow across the map. SofM gets away with his life. Angel for Jiumeng so far in this game, and now Morgan has been targeted. Jumps over the wall though, and Bin can't quite get the knockup. Can't get the chains either. But Missing and Teacherma are in trouble. Good taunt, but there's no follow-up whatsoever. Teacherma flashes. They're going to get away.
That was still a beautiful flash from Teacherma, and oh my god, beishang just get beishang jumps over the wall, steals the dragon, gets a mid lane turn. It actually doesn't matter that you lost 2 people.
beishang has forgotten that he's in a competitive team environment. He's playing solo queue right now. Steals the dragon. He's like, screw the team fight. I'm going mid.
I'm just saying, he got 2 objectives for his team. Let's take a look at him here. Just ease over the wall, I'm pretty sure, and just smites it and then ults away. So all of Suning disengaging and now left in a position where they're trying to find the kills. They do get this kill onto Jiumeng with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They head down, but Morgan and Teacherma were just able to play it so beautifully, dodging critical skill shots to make it out alive.
And ultimately, off the back of the dragon fight, what happened after the fact is that they traded Missing for a mid-tier 1 tower. You're going to take that trade every single day of the week.
And ultimately, with 1 or 2 going down, even with the turret, in my mind, whoever secures the dragon is the big winner there, especially Suning. Even if you lost 1 or 2 members, if you were able to get that Drake and be on 3, it would be massive. Yeah, for WE, it's not even about getting the Drake for themselves. It's about making sure that Suning doesn't get that Drake. And now they're in a position where the next one, it'll be soul point either way. We're also at a point where WE, even if they get something like a Baron, are going to rely on a team fight to close out this game because they have 4 melee champions, so they're not really going to be in a position where they can siege. So I like to see that these teams are just focusing on something like the Dragon.
Bear in mind, Baron is on the map at this point. Ashe, incredibly good at rushing that down. It's not a champion we get to talk about rushing Baron often because it's not a champion we see very often. But she goes Blade of the Rune King. She goes for a lot of attack speed as well. She really can melt it.
You have double AD carry in your composition with the Graves.
True. But WE, well aware of the situation. They're going for a fight right now. Teacherma straight into everyone. Haymaker goes wide though. And now Missing is left out alone. Tempered Fate onto Jiumeng. Can they follow up? Yes is the answer. He's going to drop. Missing goes as well. In the meantime, Morgan didn't even teleport. He's still in the bottom lane. This has been a 4v5 the whole time.
Morgan just so late on the play. What?
Now he's going to go for the teleport. WE aren't done just yet.
They need to stop Suning from doing this Baron. Even though WE's comp can't use it, Suning siege quite well.
WE here. Morgan's popped the Dominus, but he's not going in despite Teacherma being there. They've reset the Baron though. That might be enough to stop things. beishang still hanging around, still trying to make his way across. They've denied the Baron.
Yeah, I feel like Suning could have played around it more aggressively, have Bin come over and just keep forcing them in. Sure, you're missing a lot of your key cooldowns, which, again, their composition's very reliant on their CC, but you still have World Ender as well as Graves Ultimate up. Interesting to see huanfeng, when you look at his build path right now, he's going for that Death Stance third as well, so kind of emulating a similar style to the Ezreals that we've been seeing, and I can understand why. Yeah, again, honestly not something I've seen. We don't see Ashe too often, but at the same time, with the style of composition WE's running, which is, again, very melee-centric, needs to get in your face, I can understand how more resistances, more lifesteal, more survivability is the key to winning against this comp. Yeah. Does mean that you have to forego the Infinity Edge, though, which obviously scales exceptionally well with Ashe's passive. So perhaps we'll pick that up later on in the game. Maybe we'll just go more attack speed, though. Something like a Rage Blade could do a lot of work. At the same time, now Jiumeng's going to be hitting like a truck, where huanfeng, like you just pointed out, not going to be there yet. At the same time, I actually like it for the fact that you have other big damage threats on your team, and you don't need to be that soul.
No, he flashed into the arrow. Beautiful from huanfeng. Predicts the flash. And that is how you say, I'm the better AD carry.
And this is what's so exciting about this style of play where you need to hit these abilities. And Jiumeng's gotten just wrecked absolutely every time, whether it's from a Tempered Fate, an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, a Cosmic Binding. He's taken all of them.
This is kind of the problem, right? You don't actually have any peel in this composition. The rest of your team, they just want to go in.
Yeah, and we actually saw Suning run these style of compositions last split where it'd be like 4 Protect 1 in a sense where they weren't working.
Well, this is looking to be a soul point coming through for the side of Suning because realistically, there is no contest available from WE. They're just going to try and grab some vision around the Baron area. huanfeng will finish this Drake off. So Ocean Soul point now. Suning feeling really confident, feeling good in this series. And honestly, when you look at how game number 1 went, I didn't expect Suning to show up like this.
I want to say that coming off their win against LNG, I still wasn't too hot on them, right? They beat LNG in a pretty...
Yeah.
It was convincing, but it was convincing in a way that I feel like should have been more convincing when you're up against LNG. So the fact that they're getting... Not getting, but the fact that they're keeping close to WE is really impressive to me. It shows that this time they could be in contention for middle of the table, but...
Round of applause. I mean, that was also kind of a funky hitbox, but
I also love how SwordArt's chaining these Cosmic Bindings perfectly with any CC the rest of the team are putting out.
Oh, Bin is the target once again. We've seen this a lot this series, but Morgan goes Dominus. beishang's actually taking a huge... How is Bin so healthy? The amount of sustain he's got. Then there's an arrow onto Morgan. The Cosmic Binding as well. Morgan goes down. So does Jiumeng. Suning, a team fighting gods. Missing has nowhere to run to. And Suning are showing us a masterclass of this composition.
I am absolutely with you on that one with the Aatrox healing. That came out of nowhere. And now Suning, they might just choose to push for the end, but... probably should look for the Baron.
I don't know if they can quite end the game here. Maybe if they catch Teacherma, gets
20
away with
seconds.
his life.
Go for the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, 20 seconds, you've not even got an inhib yet, you don't have a minion wave, probably go for the Baron.
I got a bit ahead of myself, but when they started running mid, it's like, oh my god, what are they doing? But let's see what happens here. They aren't able to lock him down. Doesn't actually hit that third Q. Oh, the first Q. And his sustain is just so much from his passive as well as the Death's Dance. Good Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and we've said it here with the Cosmic Bindings as well. Just great CC chain coming out. Missing now left in a really awkward position. beishang not able to get away. Great flash coming out from Bin. And
I mean, one by one, they just fall apart. Clearly, they were just as surprised at the healing out of Bin as we were. And that was the same thing when Bin was on the Renekton. They were surprised at how much he was able to survive. He seems to have some kind of healing book.
And we also see him going with the Ghost Blade as well, so going a very solo Q-esque build here.
He wants to win. He wants to find fights. He wants to find Jiumeng.
He wants to, I was going to say, exactly. His build is just to delete Jiumeng with that.
I mean, this entire composition just seems to be delete Jiumeng. He's 0-5. Missing is 0-6. They're not having a fun game.
And it's been so beautiful that they've always hit those Tempered Fates on one of those two. And again, when you support Galio, you're not making money. You're not actually getting that tank. You're not building damage. You're just kind of, you're just utility.
And look, huanfeng on this Ashe, his Enchanted Crystal Arrows have been so good this game. And I've seen a lot of Ashes competitively over the years, and I've seen a lot of missed arrows. huanfeng, not a single miss this game.
Also impressive because they checked his solo QID just before this, and it's not a champion he was spamming a lot of or anything, so the fact that his skill shots are still so on point is so impressive.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about Ashe, right? It's not really been changed much over the years. Bin pulled underneath the tower here. They might just have the damage. This time, Tempered Fate onto 3, but Bin already went down. There's some stuns across the team. SofM trying to get the damage missing, barely survives, but survive he does. Bullet time now as SofM finishes 1. He's trying to get onto Jiumeng. Somehow Suning are still winning this fight out. They're looking for an inhib now as huanfeng charges on forward, but there's a stopwatch. He's been baited in. No, he hasn't, because he's got insane damage. Finishes Morgan. Taunt going to come on through onto 3 of them. Is the damage there? huanfeng finally falls, but SofM is another AD carry. They get the inhib, and they get away with it.
Absolutely so much happened in this fight. I'm surprised like you are. Bin went down right away. Tempered Fate coming out a bit late, but Suning still able to come out ahead of this fight because of how far ahead they are. 5K gold. And now we have to keep our eyes on this next dragon because WE need to make a miracle happen. But the good thing for them is beishang can still just look for a play where, you know, you dive right in over the wall with that Galio and you try to force out a 50-50 play.
Just keep your eyes on huanfeng during this fight because the way he positions towards the end, so aggressive, but so well played. And
we see Bin get deleted, Tempered Fate coming out a bit late, but like you're saying, huanfeng is just tethering his range perfectly, always slightly out of range. This also goes back to what we said about WE's comp not having any real reliable engage. We see, right, Sett and Renekton just have to walk forward. huanfeng playing so perfectly, as well as Angel is hitting so many sleepy trouble bubbles, doing a great job with these paddle stars, not that one particularly, but like you said, huanfeng just showing us a masterclass in positioning.
Just beautifully played. Nearly survives there as well. The smite comes through in the end from beishang. Now, Ocean Drake about to spawn. It's do or die for WE off the back of this fight. How do they make this happen? How do they find a win?
Honestly, I feel like you just go for the gamble. You have beishang jump over the wall, maybe Renekton slice and dice in as well. Open that Galio ultimate and just go all in, force a really hectic 50-50 situation.
Try and find huanfeng if you possibly can. Dragon start at 5,500 health. Suning will pull it back, and obviously they're the ones with the positional advantage right now. SofM, though, has been stunned up, maybe caught out, flashes away to safety. Keeps himself good right now. Morgan's going to look for the 1v1 onto it, but he doesn't have the damage. Blown up by the Graves, as is the rest of his team. Angel surviving, but actually goes down to beishang in the end. Chrono Break to get back in the fight. Here comes Galio, knock up across the team. SofM still going strong, but with huanfeng down, do they have the damage? Bin now trying to answer for that, stunned up, and it's going to be Jiumeng somehow surviving. Teacherma's here, trying to tank up on the front line. You can see his regen starting to come on through. SofM goes in, Teacherma with a haymaker, but it goes wide. Slows from Jiumeng. Getting some healing from his bloodline as well. 3 versus 3, Suning back towards the dragon.
And Suning still have super minions in the bot side threatening the Nexus, so they feel fine just playing the patient game here.
Both junglers are going to be here. Only beishang has smite right now, though. They're going straight onto SwordArt. He can't get away with it. And now SofM manages to answer, gets a kill onto the AD carry, but might answer with his own life. Shut down for beishang, keeps himself safe with the Chrono Break. Teacherma desperately trying to escape, but Bin is on a rampage, and he wants more blood. beishang desperately trying to find a way on out. No way. No way does he get away with this.
He does.
Oh my god. beishang, you sneaky devil.
You know, my first thought after all that is, it is ridiculously Sett in Aatrox healing, especially with only 1 or 2 Ocean Drakes. Like, that was... Did you see Teacherma just surviving on 10% HP and never going down because he just casually walks away for 2 seconds? But there was so many facets to that fight. Actually, Angel starting it off, chunking Morgan low, keeping SofM alive, put himself in such a bad position where he just pretty much got deleted. I didn't see how huanfeng went down, but...
Oh, utter chaos, and there's no time for a replay because we're still going here. Chrono Break used so early. beishang stunned up. Bin is going to go over surely on this one. He's 1v3 though. In the meantime, his team is doing the dragon. That's the most important thing. WE, they've got to find an answer right now, but the Ocean Drake goes over the soul for Suning.
Thank God, Munchables, because it looked like they were all trying to jump over the wall to help Bin. Don't help Bin. Secure the soul. Whether he goes down or not doesn't matter. They don't have time to finish. He even has TP whether he had died or not, so glad to see they made the right decision in the end.
Baron is about to spawn as Suning are already here. They are well ahead in this series now with this Ocean Soul. I mean, Bin is going to be unkillable at this stage.
Yeah, no other way to put it than that. He also does have all the damage still, again, has the Ghost Blade, does pick up the GA, but it is now down.
Bin finding a bit of a hit onto missing there, but can't turn it into much. Chrono Break having to be used from beishang. He's on the wrong side of this play. Look at that from SwordArt. No way out, although beishang's not going to survive. He's going to go down in the end. Never mind. Teacherma now running for the hills. Missing the same story.
This game's over.
Crystal Arrow about to come off of cooldown. 50 seconds on the jungler. Jiumeng just desperately clearing the minions here. If it's not over right now, it's at least 3 inhibs.
If they don't end right here, Munchables, I don't know what's going on. Like you said, they have Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Graves' ultimate is still up. They can just dive, engage. You have Ocean Soul.
This has got to be it. This has got to be the win for Suning. Minion's going to be cleared, though. It does mean the Teacherma's going to be here with his Haymaker to deny. Look at the damage onto Bin. The Teacherma right there. Really nice ult from Jiumeng. Clears the minions and stops them pushing.
Yeah, guess. We would think that Bin is tanky enough to just go for this engage, but especially without his World Ender, just not feeling the confidence to make the play. And like you said, beautiful ult coming out from Jiumeng.
It goes back to what you were saying before. He's gone for a Ghost Blade. He's not going to be tanky.
That's true. So his build and Jiumeng making me eat my words, but still they're going to get the Baron.
No, you were right. You were correct.
Oh, I was correct about that. I was wrong about ending the game.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, either way, you were wrong in some way. Whichever way we turn it, one of them was incorrect.
It happens.
No.
We accept.
Sad times. Well, WE hang on, though. Against all odds. I really felt like they were doomed at that point. But that's twice in a row now. Beishang has been caught out and forced to use his Chrono Break early.
Yeah, Beishang not having the best time, which he's still 6-2-3, so it's not like he's been caught out too much. But
no.
He's making a lot of these really bold plays, leaving his team in an awkward position. And going back to the composition, this is what I would have expected a lot last split, where they were running the Galio compo with Predator, to where that was the sole engage, and I thought, okay, this should just get kited out in the later stages of the game, but it always worked. This time around, we see a similar style composition. Of course, no Predator Galio, but still, they just need to run at you, and we've seen Suning just kite it out so beautifully and how it should interact.
And I've been impressed by Suning, their presence of mind to go for this. Here we go. WE are in. Huanfeng's locked up. But look how many redemptions came down. He's full health again. And now they turn the fight. Once the Wombo's gone, there's nothing WE can do.
And we saw right there, Jiumeng has no good position for a bullet time.
Morgan just about gets away with his life, but SofM's found Teacherma. You don't get out of this one, my friend. And he hasn't got any damage. This is not a fair fight. This is not a 1v1. This is SofM playing pest control right now. Just looking for the set, looking to shut him down. The Dead Man's Plate is going to do a lot of work. Actually flashes for this one. Teacherma keeps it busy, but ultimately, it's another kill for Suning. It's an inhibitor in the top lane.
That sequence of events kind of felt like the series to me, where we've just kind of been running around all over the place.
It was exactly like when they chased Angel in game 1.
And Suning went out in the end. That's the end of that sequence.
Oh dear. Well, fantastic stuff from Suning here, and this is looking like the game. I don't think there's any way to end this one other than finishing things off. SofM doing damage. Angel backing away, and he keeps himself safe from missing. Morgan barely survives, and with a Tempered Fate, Jiumeng is well and truly doomed. There goes the game, and Suning